Welcome to St. Lucie Public Schools Transportation Department, Employee Training and Development. This training session will outline the expectations of two-way radio use. The purpose of this training is to outline the proper expectations of two-way radio usage. Proper radio usage is imperative to the appropriate representation of the Transportation Department. In this training, you will hear proper radio communications, learn 10 codes, and radio navigation. Please ensure you adhere to these requirements. Did you know that all radio operations are required to abide by the rules of the Federal Communications Commission, otherwise known as the FCC? Profane language or obscene language on the radio is strictly prohibited. Excessive lengthy conversations or any chatter not related to business is also prohibited. If you learn your channel is being used to transmit an emergency, you are required to stay off the air. Do not transmit music over your radio or otherwise use your radio for any non-business messages. This also includes making noises or sound effects. And finally, there are penalties issued for violation of rules and regulations of the FCC. Any employee found to be deliberately interfering in two-way radio communications will be subject to disciplinary action up to dismissal for endangering the safety of children. Let's take a look at how a radio functions. Each radio has a display screen, and each time you press the button to speak over the radio, the screen identifies you with a radio code. Each bus has its own individual radio code. Depending on the year and type of the bus, you may have buttons or knobs to control the volume and channel. Either way, the functions are the same. Make sure your volume is always up and you're tuned to the channel that you should be on, north or south. To communicate, be sure you firmly hold down the button, wait for the beep, and then speak. Release the button when done speaking and wait for a response. The most common 10 codes used are 10-4, which indicates yes, you confirm the message. 10-9, which indicates can you repeat the last message. And 10-20 is what is your location. The most common signals that you'll hear is signal 4, which indicates an accident. Let's also review some of the signals that are now required to be reported. Signal 0, weapon on board. Signal 36, which indicates there's a physical fight occurring. Signal 43, which indicates inappropriate sexual acts between students. And signal 57, which indicates there are drugs or alcohol on board. It is good practice to learn them, as you should be using them to communicate without actually having to give the details over the radio. The security department uses these signals in almost all radio transmissions. We're going to take a few minutes now and review the 5 rules of the radio. Rule number 1, and the golden rule, is keep your radio volume up. At no time should you lower your radio volume. There are many occasions where dispatch or management needs to contact a bus, including emergency situations. You need to be able to hear your radio at all times. Rule number 2 is keep it professional. Two-way radios are for business purposes only. You are expected to conduct yourself as a professional at all times when communicating over the air. Please keep in mind that emergency services, as well as other school board employees, can tune in and monitor our channels at any given moment. Rule number 3, keep it on your channel. There are 5 different radio channels that the department communicates on. Make sure you are tuned to the channel for your zone, either the south or the north. If you are called to the trip channel or you need to contact the garage, make sure you immediately switch back to your assigned channel. Rule number 4, keep it short and sweet. There are over 300 buses out on the road at any given moment. Therefore, the main channels need to remain clear to conduct business. Drivers and dispatch need to be able to communicate without long-winded explanations. Keep your radio transmissions short, sweet, and to the point. Remember, other drivers are waiting to get through. And finally, rule number 5, keep it loud and clear. Often there is background noise that can prevent a clear transmission. Hold the microphone away from your mouth to prevent a muffled sound. Be sure you are speaking loud and clear in order to get your message across the first time. There are many reasons why we would need to contact dispatch. When you're in need, remember, dispatch is here to lead the way. Let's meet your dispatchers. You have Jimmy Williams in the south for the AM and Lakeisha Martin in the south for the PM. You have Latoya Bowie in the north for the AM and Octavia Little in the north for the PM. Again, your dispatchers are here to lead the way. And assisting dispatch are our tech specialists. You have Max Duckett and Carmen Rosello. You'll need to report your spare buses and late routes to them. Again, we'll make sure the tablets are running properly and they'll send out late calls to your parents. Each radio transmission should begin with saying your route number to dispatch. Dispatch will respond with, "Go ahead," and your route number.
2730 to dispatch.
Go ahead, 2730. Every 28 days, your bus will go in for inspection. When this happens, you're assigned a spare bus for the duration that your bus is in the garage. Any time that you are on a spare bus, for any reason, you are required to radio into Max or Carmen in dispatch before starting your route. Anytime you are running late by 15 minutes or more on your route, you are required to radio into Max and Carmen in dispatch to advise. We'll send out automated calls to your parents and also let the schools know. Remember, students in pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade are not to be released without a known parent or guardian at the bus stop. Again, students in pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade cannot be released at a bus stop without the known parent or guardian present. However, students in pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade are able to get off the bus with a sibling that is in 4th grade or higher. Again, students in pre-K, kindergarten, and 1st grade are able to get off the bus with siblings as long as they're in 4th grade or higher. Anytime your bus makes contact with anything, you've been involved in an accident and need to radio dispatch immediately, even if there is no damage or students on board. It is mandatory to report every Signal 4 to dispatch, no matter how minor you think it is. Keep in mind, failing to report an accident can result in termination of employment. Again, it is mandatory to report any Signal 4 to dispatch, no matter how minor you think it is. Dispatch will advise you to switch to the security channel and then ask a series of questions as they are calling 911. They're going to ask your location. Please be specific as to where you are. They're going to ask if there's any students on board and how many. They're also going to ask if there are any known or visible injuries. And they're also going to ask a description of the other vehicle. There may be other questions that are asked. Please be sure you are responding to dispatch as soon as possible. Once there are no injuries confirmed, we'll send out an automated call to let your parents know that your bus was involved in a Signal 4. If your bus breaks down or you encounter mechanical issues, be sure to radio garage first. The dispatch channel is unable to assist you with any mechanical issues. The garage may be able to assist with those mechanical issues over the radio and help get you rolling again. Either way, your next step would be to let dispatch know. If you have to transfer buses, dispatch will ask you if you have students on board and if assistance is needed to safely transfer students from one bus to another. You must always wait for dispatch instructions. And finally, be sure to let dispatch know when you're up and rolling again. It's important that you properly respond to mechanical issues. Drivers have a responsibility to keep their passengers safe, and that includes recognizing and properly responding to mechanical issues. Anytime a warning light or a buzzer goes off, you should immediately report it to the garage channel. They will provide troubleshooting steps in order to diagnose the issue and find a resolution. It's important that you are clear and thorough when speaking with the garage so the correct attempts to resolve are taken. There may come a time when you would need to reach out to the security channel. Some reasons that you may need to reach out to security channel are for fights, weapons on your bus, or anything that is endangering the safety of your students or yourself. If something like this should happen, you can bypass dispatch and go directly to security if needed. But be sure to advise dispatch of what is happening as soon as you can. We may need to send late calls out to parents, contact schools, and notify managers. If you need directions, switch over to the routing channel. They'll attempt to guide you. Remember, each bus is equipped with GPS and map navigation. Please allow routing to give the directions. Too many people on the radio can be counterproductive. There may be other times that you need to contact other areas in transportation outside of dispatch. So the other channels would be routing, and that is for field trip assignment, to contact Miss Sears, and directions. The garage channel would be for bus breakdowns and mechanical issues, or if you need DEF. And finally, security. And again, that's for a fight a weapon, or any sort of safety concerns. If you have concerns with your route, you'll need to speak directly with your area manager. If something needs to be changed, we can follow the route edit request process. Again, get with your area manager to do so. In case you missed it, let's review. Remember, keep your radio volume up, keep your communication professional at all times, keep your radio on your assigned channel, and if you happen to switch channels, just remember to go back to your main channel. Keep your radio messages short, sweet, and to the point. Remember, other drivers are waiting to get through. And keep your message clear and speak loud. Learn your 10 codes and your signals. Radio dispatch if you're running more than 15 minutes late. Radio dispatch immediately if you're involved in a Signal 4. Radio dispatch anytime you are on a spare bus. Radio garage first if you break down, and then radio dispatch to keep them informed. Radio security anytime you feel your safety or your student's safety is at risk. And remember, we are held to the FCC regulations and can be monitored at any time. Represent us well. All staff will be held accountable to meet all the expectations set forth by the Transportation Management Team. Failure to meet these expectations may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment.